Yeah.
This is how I get this every week, so welcome to it. Don't touch.
Let's get it. I'm telling you why. You can see in their eyes, them boys ain't playing, they ready to ride. Shaking the tunnel, just screaming and yell. If you ain't ready, you get eaten alive. Taking the field with loads of passion, swagging out with the flyest fashions. Cameras out and they steady flashing. Captains out, we about to get it cracking. Full aggression in between those lines. You boys, we about to ride. We a band of brothers and we stick together like an army mission when it's wartime. We stacking them W's, pay attention. Opponents coming with apprehension. We stay on top of our division. Went from BCS buses to playoff contenders. We on the rise up. Now the boys mad. We have to tighten them boys
we
up.
are mad.
We here for the crown. Utes. We on the rise up. Now the boys mad. We have to tighten them boys up.
That's right.
We here for the crown.
Not mad this week. Welcome to another week, Utah football fans. And what a week it was. The word of the day is domination, and we're going to talk all about that.
It's like going back 2 years when that used to be when we would kick off every podcast with that. Remember when we were 11-1? Domination.
Domination. That's what Saturday was. Anyways, I'm Bryn here with Gary and James. Please follow, like, subscribe, review. Be friendly to each other.
Yeah, look us up.
Enjoy each other. We're all Utah football
We're all on
fans.
the same team here.
We should be anyways. So yeah, Stanford. That was unexpected.
Was it?
Hey, before we get
That
there,
was unexpected.
before we get to that game,
Okay, yes.
I want to shout out to a couple of
Okay.
followers of the podcast.
From the podcast or
Follow the podcast. They talk to
They
me.
listen.
They listen.
we
Fancy that.
have listeners.
Dude. Jessica, Catherine Jensen, thanks. They've come to some of our tailgates. So a shout out to you.
Thanks for listening.
Ohio State's terrible.
I think Mike Ridd. Mike, this might be the first time he listens. All right, good for you, Mike. Stay with us, man. And then I met Nancy, a friend of yours. I forgot her last name.
Nancy Henry.
Nancy Henry at a soccer game. So thanks for listening. Spread the word.
Rob Totten, he's a avid listener that when we didn't have an episode come out, he was very upset about it.
And you know what? I actually saw him on our Facebook group call them Anus U. So
Yes!
shout out to you,
Yes! It's catching on.
Rob. Catching
Glenn,
on.
can we say anus you?
That's another shout out, Glenn.
Sid, can we say anus you?
Oh, it's funny. Just not everything in life has to be so serious. It's funny.
They suck. So we
It's-
can. It's
All
fine.
right. But anyway, shout out to everybody.
Thank you
But
for
spread
listening.
the word. We appreciate it. Really do. The other thing before we get to the game though is I saw you post on our Facebook page about the game times with Oregon and Colorado. Fill us
Yeah.
in on that.
Yeah, so our next home game is against Oregon, which is huge. Saturday, November 20th.
Is it? Is that a big one?
Just a little bit. So we are in the 6-day window, which basically means we will not find out our kickoff time till Sunday. And that's just because
Which is
of
fine.
TV and all of that. But the possibilities are 1:30, 2 o'clock, or 5:30.
Give me that 5:30.
Yeah, the thing is all those times are good.
Yeah, all of
All
those
of them
are
are good.
great. On a November Saturday, and then it was announced today the Colorado game, which is Friday, the Friday
That's the
after
Friday game.
Thanksgiving.
I did not know that until right
didn't?
now.
It's Friday.
Not that it would have mattered, but I didn't know that.
Well, it does matter because some people actually do work that Friday, but it's Friday at 2 p.m.
Colin's sick. It'll be fine.
Seriously, like
Okay, that's good to know though.
That is good to know.
I wasn't thinking
Wait, what
that
time
either.
is that one?
2 p.m.
Oh, that's perfect.
Friday
On
the
Fox.
Friday after Thanksgiving at 2 p.m. on Fox. And see, if we play Oregon at 5:30,
That's ESPN, isn't it?
that's probably might be ABC.
Oh, is there any chance that they come for game day?
I would say yes. I've been seeing people talk about it. The other option was I think with Michigan State, but see, Michigan State just lost last weekend. So who knows?
Who knows?
That'd be awesome.
But we won't know till Sunday. But 1:30, 2 o'clock, or
great.
5:30, all of those are awesome times.
Yeah, it's not 8:30 in November.
Yeah. Plus, it's the Salute America game. We've got those camo uniforms with the battleship on
Which,
the
by
helmet.
the way, so just kind of a FYI, I went back and forth with the guy who's creating those on Twitter. He posts some pictures of them on Twitter. They're unbelievable.
He's hand painting all of them.
Hand painted each one of them, and he's gonna send me some pictures up close when he's completely finished. So probably in the next week or two. So follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll post some of those pictures. It's
And Facebook.
Yeah, they're cool.
on Facebook, but yeah, they can be pretty cool.
So just take your entire afternoon off that day and anticipate it's going to be one of those kickoff times.
Great times. Great
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, those would be great.
Okay. Let's talk Stanford. We watched it. Everyone watched it. Talk about a blowout. There's not anybody that saw that coming. Other than I'll say this. Our predictions. I wasn't close. I'll say this though. You went what 47-17 or something like that?
Yeah, I went 45-17.
45-17. So the sentiment that you gave is certainly more than anybody else that I saw.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Stanford, and they're a weird team. I mean, that team beat Oregon.
I know, but 52-7.
Weird.
That team beat
Amazing.
USC. And now I understand USC is not great, but there's talent. So it's weird. But I just feel like this Utah team they're dialed, and they're focused, and they understand what the task. But no, did I expect 52-7?
Come on.
No.
That was unreal.
It was so freaking fun.
No, it felt like, I mean, watching it, we were watching it on TV. You were there, I know. But
Yeah.
sometimes it felt like they weren't even trying to tackle our guys, which I know they were, but it's like,
Some of the holes
yeah.
that our own line created, and keep in mind, this is Stanford, who is notorious for that grind football, play defense, right? There were some statistics that showed that Utah ran the ball better on Stanford than anybody has in like 25 years or something. I mean, it's crazy.
It was just domination.
We averaged almost 10 yards a carry.
Almost. It was 9 point
9.6.
something. Yeah, 9.6.
Per carry. Now, I think I understand that your QB went out, and that's an issue. And actually, they had a decent offense with him in it and throwing the ball. Okay, I get it. When your QB goes out, there's going to be a problem. Fine. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was it was their defense. And
Yeah.
Stanford, they have some big people.
Oh, they got some
Smart,
big boys.
big guys, and we just dominated them.
So there was a stat that came out. So just
they are smart.
Because what I'm saying is, you're not gonna, if there's a game plan or you got to know stuff.
Yeah.
These guys are smart.
Oh, they're incredibly intelligent.
Versus some guys are just stupid. You can talk about things during the week and they forget about it when the game comes around. These guys,
No, they're
they're
incredibly
intelligent,
talented.
big guys, and we dominated them. That was their defense. It looked like we were playing Idaho State.
It did.
But it wasn't. It was Stanford.
With Stanford, we had 3 running backs go over 100 yards.
Unbelievable.
We had 3 different running backs score touchdowns. The stat came out that was Matt Brown said this on Twitter. He's a college football writer, but he said Utah had more rushing yards at halftime than any team had run against Stanford in an entire game since 2010.
Well, and we had, I don't know what I'm hearing. What
is
am I
that?
hearing?
Is the bunker being
Flooded?
I don't think anyone else can hear that. Wasn't it that our score at halftime was as many yards as they had total?
Yeah.
38. We had scored 38 and they only had 38
I
yards.
mean, I'm looking at the halftime. This is just the halftime stats.
Yeah.
We had 403 yards at halftime, and they had 19. We had 323 rushing yards at halftime. They had 5. We were averaging 11.5 yards per play. They were averaging 1. I mean,
it's like you can't even. You
can't
said
analyze
it,
this. It
You
was
said
just-
it. That's like a video game. Those
Yes.
are video game stats.
that's like when Marcus Minute,
Marcus.
who plays, he takes all of his guys on his team, puts them all to 100, and plays on rookie mode. So he wins 75-0.
That's what his stats
That's
look
the
like.
stats at halftime.
Yeah.
It was insane. It was mind-boggling. It was so fun.
We were 581 yard total offense, total yards in the game. Almost 600 yards in one game, and primarily running the ball.
Well, yeah. Rising only had 140 yards passing.
That's the part that it's just, how is that possible?
Well, that's what you're saying. Like some of those holes, but not even the holes. I mean, a lot of it was our running backs. I mean, Thomas would get hit and then he'd stiff arm him or he'd bounce off of it or he'd just keep going. I mean,
Thomas had back-to-back games with 4 touchdowns.
that's insane.
He wanted that 5th so bad.
8 touchdowns in 2 games. That's not bad.
Decent.
Well, and I said this to you when the game was over. We were kind of just dumbfounded a little bit. It's like we just scored for 2 weeks in a row. We scored 44 points and then 52 points. When have you ever had a Utah team do that in back-to-back weeks when it's Pac-12 play? This is not our preseason.
Yeah, this is an Idaho State.
44 and then 52 back-to-back.
Utah leads the Pac-12 right now in points per game. With 30, we're averaging 35.4.
By a half a point.
Doesn't matter.
Still, this is not something we're used to.
We're getting more points per game on average than any other
I
team.
know
in the
Oregon
Pac-12.
is 35 and we're like 35.5.
Okay, which is more?
I understand. I'm just
Math.
saying.
It's simple math.
Be that as it may, I don't know if people realize that because typically who we are, but we lead the league in points per game, which is
That's not a Utah football thing. We're not.
cool.
We've
fun,
never
though.
done this before.
Tell you what, it's been fun couple games.
You know, and watching Pledger run the entire field,
That stiff arm he put on that dude
end zone to end zone.
just put the guy's face into the ground and gone. It was just fun.
Tell it. Okay. Of course, then we have to talk about Lloyd's interception. It was right in
defense.
front of you, apparently.
Yeah, so I was at the game and I was probably sitting 12, 15 rows up, kind of in the corner. But I had wandered my way. Keep in mind, there's 14 people at the game, which we'll get into. I made my way down to about the second row because Stanford had the ball right in front of me. So I'm just sitting there watching it, and it's third down. And all of a sudden, Lloyd's just laying on the... Like, it was
so fast.
so fast. I saw the guy throw it, and I'm looking around for it, and Lloyd's on the ground with the ball. And my brain couldn't comprehend what happened. It was pretty impressive.
That's what Witt said basically in his press conference today. It's from where he was standing. Is that it happened so fast? They go, what just happened?
Kind of looking for the ball. What happened?
Yeah, that's kind of when we were watching it. I mean, first of all, anyone who was watching it on
camera
TV,
angles.
the camera was the worst thing I've ever seen. It looked like it was in outer space. It was so far away.
We were 500 yards away.
You couldn't see the ball. So when that play happened, it was like you saw the snap.
I'm looking
and then
on my
all of a
television
sudden,
screen like down over.
Yeah. But then the replays, and then I don't know if you've probably seen on Twitter that Stevenson Sylvester.
So that's essentially where I was sitting. That was my view.
He
where
was
Sly
standing in the end zone, and he filmed it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Well, I'll
You
have to
haven't seen
send
that?
it to you.
I haven't seen that yet.
He's got an awesome angle. You can see it. I mean,
I've seen slow motion later, but
at first it kind of felt like it just fell in Lloyd's hands. But
No.
when you watch Sly's video, Lloyd sees that coming. He jumps and gets it, and then goes in the end zone.
Yeah, it's not like he tips it and then recatches it.
He goes
He
for it.
moves around, jumps up, boom, and then in the end zone.
yeah, but the guy was throwing a dart.
Oh, it was
the guy was
moving.
full arming the pass, and you're only a couple of yards away,
6
4
yard-
yards
he was
away
6
from the
yards
guy.
from
It's
the
a
most.
bullet, and it sticks in your hands. That's not easily done.
There was one.
That's some strong hands right there. But
It was impressive.
And coordination. It was so impressive.
The season, by the way, I'll just say this. The season Devin Lloyd is having, statistically, is it is the best defensive, statistically driven seasons, probably by any, what is
so
happening?
loud.
I don't know, the bunker.
By any Utah defender, probably ever. So enjoy the next couple games with this guy because he's going to be a first-round pick.
Well, remember when Whittingham said Devin Lloyd was the best linebacker he's ever seen, and we all were like, "How is that
How
possible?"
can you say that? Well,
Plus, he's a hottie. Anyway,
plays like that on Saturday.
there was one play, Stanford's quarterback. It's like he had the ball, he could see Lloyd coming. He kind of just collapsed to the ground.
Well, yeah.
Because he didn't want to take the hit. And you see Lloyd kind of jump over him and have to roll. I really think that's what he saw him coming, and so he's like,
Nope.
I'm just going to the ground
Nope.
because I'm not going to take this hit.
Not doing
Because
this.
he'd been hit by Lloyd a few times already. But
He's a heck of a player, so it's been
he's
it's
so
been
fun to watch.
So the other side of it, though, is our offense almost 600 yards. They only had 167 yards at the end of the game.
Well, with Lloyd, let's just mention
yeah.
again that he's Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week
Rightfully so.
this week.
How many times? I mean, we've had a lot of guys player of the game of some sort.
And then we had
Pac-12 player of something.
Who was it? Offensive lineman?
We had an O-lineman.
Daniels is his name, I think.
Okay.
He got Pac-12 Offensive Lineman of the Week. So,
They could have given it to the whole offensive line.
well, what about the running backs? Hello?
They could have given it to. I mean, it's true. Our running back didn't win Offensive Player of the Week. It was the running back for ANSU won it,
Why?
which is a joke. Thomas had 4 touchdowns at 170 yards rushing. He could have had 300 yards.
177 yards, 4
rushing.
touchdowns.
He could have had 300 yards. If they had rotated running backs, he legit could have had over 250 yards rushing.
Well, whatever.
But whatever.
Yeah, and they only had 82 yards rushing. We rushed. See that I can't believe it. 441 yards rushing. When is the last time you hear rushing? You would think passing would be a part of that.
Passing or combined.
Well, that's that's usually what our total yards
are. If you get 441, just total yards.
Yeah, that's a good game.
That's an unbelievable game. But that was our rushing. They only got 82 yards rushing. Okay, it was such a domination. There's not much to say other than just boys, keep that going. Play just like that. It was all up front. I mean, it's like they always say, it's the line play, whether it's offense or defense. If our offensive line can continue to push people around like that, we're in good shape.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what my thought was during the Devin Lloyd interception is when the play started, when Stanford lined up, in my head I'm like, it's loud. I can hear the crowd noise. So then it occurred to me, it's like, oh, those are our Utah fans being so loud. And then it's like the play happened and it was so fast and quick. But obviously all of us who watched it on TV, there was nobody in the stadium. But what was it like being there?
So talk to us about just the whole talk to us about everything going in and what you thought about the place. And
it's cool. I didn't get to see campus a whole bunch. I was there working, so by the time I got over to the stadium, it was dark outside, and so. But it's a whole different atmosphere. There is no atmosphere. I mean, literally, people are quote unquote tailgating, but they've got wine and
cheese.
I'm not kidding. Cheese plates, and it's probably being catered by it's just different. There's no trash talk. There's just none of that. It would be a very cool stadium if it was full. I think it seats 55,000 people. Oh. The setting is cool. There's these giant pine trees coming up over the stadium.
Yeah.
It's very cool. But yeah, to your point, I'd be shocked if there was more than 12,000 people in the entire stadium, half of which were Utah fans. No exaggeration. As you're walking through the tunnel, it was Utah fan, Stanford fan, Utah fan, Stanford fan, Utah. It was so, and everyone's wearing essentially the same color, red.
Yeah.
So you're kind of having to look. It was great though. There was no line at the concession. There was no line at the bathroom. You could move wherever you wanted to.
Okay, 2 questions I'm interested in because I've had other people tell me about their mascot.
Oh,
so the mascot and their fan section. What about
their student section?
Student section. Yeah, excuse me, the student section.
Student section's high school. If you went to, I'm serious. No. If you go to a Brighton high school game, it's the same size as far as fans go.
Brighton probably has more. Brighton's a big school.
I mean, yeah. It literally there was 500.
Yeah, it's not. It's
there were some that were hyped up. The tree is the weirdest thing in the world.
Okay, but let me, with the student section,
so weird.
They were into it.
Did they have chants or
No.
screams or coordinated things or anything?
No, every now and then they
weird like Cal and their goofy.
No. The Cal was way
with
worse.
their microphone.
Cal, they were literally people.
That was the
doing
dumbest
homework.
thing I've ever seen.
And they're like, okay, on 3, we're going to
Cheer!
say football. And yeah, this was more just very much so a high school feeling. There were some kids, I'm sure, that were into it, but for the most part, nobody cared.
Did you get smarter by just being there? Did your brain? Did you feel like your brain was enlarging?
I felt like they knew I was an idiot.
They can spot it. It's
I
like
felt
a
like
radar.
I'm walking in, they're like, that guy's IQ is 7. He barely passed high school. What's he doing here? Oh, he's a Utah fan. Okay. The tree is super
the mascot,
weird.
dude.
Tree.
What's with
I
this?
gotta give him some credit though. They embrace the weirdness. right?
Did the band play too?
Yeah,
The weird band.
Okay, so the
Band is
mascot,
so weird.
they just
I've not been there. I got to go there.
they
you
embrace
need
the
to
weird.
go.
They embrace the weird, right?
Okay, well, I'm not into the
their
weird.
Their mascot is a color. It's not the Cardinals. It's the Cardinal. It's a color.
It's the Cardinal.
Yeah, it's the tree, but he just
Spins.
dances and gyrates and spins the whole freaking
spins.
game. I mean, it's
And
bizarre.
then the cheerleaders just spin and dance and gyrate with him.
Yeah,
Are they good looking?
The cheerleaders?
one looked extremely malnutrition. Had malnutrition. I'm not kidding. She was this. Her arms were this big.
Jeez.
So I don't know, but their band was a fourth the size of our band. Was tiny,
Yeah.
tiny band, not loud, and they do this weird thing where these two doofuses stand up and try to do like a monologue thing.
Yeah.
So
They
they
do
get
like
up-
a play.
What? They
It's
get up
weird.
and they're like trying to make fun of Utah. And they're trying to like make fun of Swoop the mascot. Let's make him a Tweety bird. And then the band plays. And you're sitting here
my
going,
gosh.
what? And then they try to be like political jokes and they try to make fun of people and none of it's landing. And no one finds it funny.
And then the band, they're just like dancing around, and they usually wear weird costumes.
Yep.
It's a whole thing.
It's the weirdest thing. And then we went, and then all of a sudden the guy on the microphone goes, "Oh, and here comes Stanford," and they come running out of the tunnel. There was no build up. There was no hype. It was just like, oh, here they come.
They're
And then
very,
Utah runs out, and it got loud.
very intellectual, but it's like, it's too intellectual. It's Geek Squad. Like it's so strange. It's the strangest thing. You need to go experience it one time.
I've
'cause
been to one Stanford game, and this was in a long time ago. And I watched Stanford play Michigan. It was the 70s,
That's pretty cool, though.
and it was in the old stadium.
Did they have the weird tree then?
I don't even remember.
think they
They had an
did.
old bowl shaped. I don't know. Cal has a new stadium, and I went to a game at Cal too, and it was the old kind of. They look like Notre Dame stadiums.
Similar. It's similar. It's two-tiered. You know, it's all enclosed. It's a cool stadium. I think it's kind of cool. They've got these tunnels when you
It
walk
looks
in.
nice.
It's very nice. Every chair, it's all bleachered, but they all have a chair back. That was way nice. So there were some positives.
Well,
and
and the area's beautiful.
the
and
area's
it's- yeah.
beautiful,
But
and-
it's in there.
I mean, it was like
weird.
when I parked 15 feet from the stadium.
Yeah.
In a grove of trees, though.
Yeah.
It literally, we roll in. I go, what is it? It's a grove.
Is a game on
Yeah.
tonight?
It's just a grove of trees. We're just parking.
Everyone just parks, and there's not a lot of traffic leaving.
No, we got out like that. So it was, I would recommend it, though. It's one of those places. I'll ask you this, though. What's been your favorite Pac-12 stadium that you've gone to? We've been to a number of them. But as I was going through
Man, I don't know, man.
As I was going through my list, I have a lot left to go to. I've only been to a handful.
Well, we're going to Tucson next week.
Yeah, it's going to be the same atmosphere there.
We're going
Maybe.
to add that to the list.
I don't think there's geeky.
You guys have been to Autzen and the new Washington Stadium. I haven't been to either one of those.
Oh, Washington, that's a...
But is it the stadium or is it
No,
where it's
the,
placed?
Yeah, it's the atmosphere around it with Autzen. Or not with Washington, but same with Autzen. It's like, with Autzen, it's the surroundings. You're in this amazing, just like,
I don't know,
forest.
man. I have to think about it.
Yeah.
They all have their own. They all have their unique things, and of course, you're in the heart of the beast. Because when we went to Oregon, it was misting. It wasn't really a rain.
Yeah, it's the Oregon.
It's like, I didn't even need a coat because it was coming from the side. Remember that? Mm-hmm. But their fans were dicks.
Yes.
They
Oregon
actually,
fans are dicks.
They really were.
So I lived in Oregon.
So, but
hate 'em.
It was
They're all
fun to
dicks.
be there. I'm saying I enjoyed being there.
They were the worst fans I've ever experienced, and I've been there twice, and it happened both times.
Yeah,
They're
they're very
tools.
cocky, which I guess.
But if you watched the Washington game and how it was raining, we've stood in that rain.
Yeah,
When
we-
went to Washington.
we sat through
it,
a rainstorm.
It was like that, and it was just
It was
so
pouring
miserable.
in that game.
It was miserable.
All right, well, let me do this. Let's some Pac-12 stats. Who leads in rushing, passing, offensive
Okay,
numbers,
okay.
and just and your impressions as I say these. Okay, so rushing yards per game. The top three is Oregon State. They
Fire
are
their defensive coordinator. by
they
the way.
average 230 basically.
I think so.
Utah's second with 218. Well, 218.9, and Oregon is 218.7. So basically the same. 219. So think about it. Rushing per game right now. Utah and Oregon is exactly the same.
Wow. Okay.
And Oregon State leads the league. That does not surprise me because that's what they do best.
Yeah, they ran all over us.
Arizona State's down at 204. So anyway, those are the top three in rushing in the league right now. So passing per game is, so yards per game is USC.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, they had the best receiver in all of college football until he got hurt.
Utah's number 9
Really? That kind of surprises me.
at 215.
It doesn't help when you don't have to.
And
throw the
Oregon,
ball
though,
in
is
the last
number
2
6.
games.
So, okay, I'm just saying. So Oregon is number 6 with 222 yards a game.
What are we at? 9 with
And
what?
we're 9 with 215. So
So it's
With
negligible.
6
I mean,
yards, basically, or whatever it is. So that's passing. Let's see.
That doesn't. I mean, that kind of surprises me. Oregon. I don't really know what their offense is like.
So yards. So this is interesting. Yards per game. Total
Total yards per game.
So total yards per game. This is passing and rushing.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's weird is that USC leads the league, and they suck.
What's their record, by the way?
They average
Well, they just lost to
441 basically 442 yards a game. Is USC,
Well, so
and
what
they
we
suck.
what we ran for this last game is
Yeah.
what they average.
Number 2 is Oregon with 441 per game.
Okay.
Oregon State, it's 441 point.
So it's
That's
just
exactly
it's
the same.
Points, yeah.
Utah is number 4 with 434.
What's so interesting about that is Oregon State and USC are mid-tier in both conferences, the North and both divisions, right? They're mid. But then Oregon and Utah are leading. So it's kind of interesting to me. USC, they suck.
No, how do you have that many yards per game and you suck
And
so
you
bad?
can't win. I don't
Okay,
know.
well, let's go here then. So this would be interesting. So this is defense.
Go D, go D.
So yards per game. This would be the defense. Arizona State leads the league. They allow 328.
Okay.
Washington is second. They allow 336. Utah is third at 348.
Okay.
Arizona is 4
Really? Total defense?
at 356. Oregon's number 6 at 367.
They just must have Oregon
So we-
Arizona must have no offense then.
20 yards difference between us and Oregon in
Defensively.
defense. Now,
I'm looking at it and it's Stanford is last
it's Stanford,
in yards
Per game.
per game allowed. I'm sure that our stats from last
which is
week
421.
put them down there at the very bottom.
So if you look at, let's go with pass yards per game in the league. Allowed by the D.
Okay, allowed.
Allowed. So this is a defense. Utah comes in at 5 in the league. So Washington's first at 141. Arizona is second.
I'm really surprised by this.
They only allow 182.
They've won one game all season.
Stanford is 3.
With passing yards allowed? Well, it's because their rush defense is so bad.
Utah, though, comes in at number 5 at 205 yards. Oregon, see, this is the thing, is 244. They allow 244 per game passing.
Strange.
That's
Interesting.
It's interesting. So then, okay, let's see with the rushing per game. Then we can move on from this. But so rushing yards a game, UCLA is 116. They allow. They were remember at one time they were under 100, it's like
Yeah.
94 or something. Now they're at 116. I'm sure we helped push
bring that
up.
average way up.
Oregon is number 2. See, this
Okay.
is key. They only allow 123 a game. Arizona State, Cal, and then Utah. Utah is 142, which isn't bad.
Where's Oregon State in there?
So Oregon State allows 143 a game.
So they're right behind us.
Yeah, number 6. Interesting stuff, man.
It's
How
weird.
it translates. I don't.
But it's weird that some of these stats were 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, kind of in that range.
But this is
Same
where
with Oregon.
Arizona is 9.
But Arizona is defensively having a pretty decent year defensively, according to the stats. They won 1 game.
Yeah,
But
they
it's their
can't win,
offense
yeah.
that stinks.
They won this last week. Who'd they beat?
Oregon State? No.
No.
Oregon State got beat by Colorado. Who did Arizona beat?
Arizona beat
Cal.
They beat Cal.
Yeah, they beat Cal.
But they only allowed 3 points. Wasn't it 10-3? Wasn't the final score?
Yeah, and I mean Cal was having lots of COVID issues.
10 to
players
yeah, I
couldn't
know.
play and all that stuff.
2/3 of their team didn't even make the trip.
But yeah, they got their first win in like they had the longest losing streak in college football at the time.
They really.
But that's what's so strange is that they were leading in some of those defensive stats.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't add up.
So remaining schedule. Let me start with this. See what you think. It's easy for me to get ahead of myself with what we've got left. Thinking, oh, absolutely, we're going to win the South and go to the championship game. And I've seen, obviously the odds are that's true. However, I'm trying to temper myself because let's just say, yeah, we go in and take out Arizona. Now, this presumes Arizona State doesn't lose again. Okay?
Right.
So if Arizona, we take them out, okay, then we would still just be a game and, of course, the tiebreaker ahead of Arizona State. But say then we play Oregon, and you have to be realistic. We can lose to Oregon.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then if that were to happen, that Colorado game
The 2:00 home cold Colorado game.
on a Friday afternoon would determine whether we win the South or not. I don't want to get there. I'm telling you what, I'm still worried about the path because we've been in this position before against Colorado, and who knows on the weather, and things just are weird in this conference.
As
And
we've seen.
That scares me to get there. So I feel like at some point we're getting ahead of ourselves. At least some people are about. Well, we've already won the South. Hey, it's in our hands, and it's looking great. However, I'm trying to temper myself because now
I get
Yeah.
I get it, but
now Arizona State. Here's the thing, though. Arizona State, they play Washington this week.
that's a 50-50
at
game.
Washington,
Mhm. It's on the road at Washington.
and they got to go to Oregon State.
So right now, according to the ESPN projector thing, take that for what it's worth. It's a toss up, the Washington game, and Oregon State is actually favored in that game.
At home.
At
Dude.
home, and it's an 8:30 kick. It's late.
Up in
Up
Oregon.
at Oregon State,
Which
which
is
we just
cold.
experienced, is a tougher place to play. So who knows? I'm with
ASU,
you.
they got a tough road to hoe, and
Hoe?
if they win them all, and then they play Arizona in their
And
in
that's
the
it.
rivalry game.
They'll
So
kill-
I
they'll kill
would-
them on that.
So they've got it tough. If they were to win them all, you got to tip your hat to it.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to get to that Colorado game.
and have to be worried about it. It would
Which
be
is-
so nice to lock it up before
Hey,
Colorado.
ASU just needs to lose next week.
Which is
get it
why
over with.
I was actually, for the first time in my life, cheering for USC this weekend, and it sucked. And they suck.
They're
they couldn't
so
do anything.
bad.
This
They're
idea
so
of double
bad.
quarterbacks, and they've got talent all over the place, and they can't do anything. It's so bad. So I'm with you. I feel the same way. Like the path is paved with
It's
golden
there for
pavement.
taking.
It's
I don't see
there.
ASU losing to Washington. I mean, Washington, yes, it's at
on the
home,
road.
but they're having they're having their their coaching issues and whatnot. But Oregon State, that's a big one, and that's the same.
Also,
day.
I could see them lose to either of those.
Yeah.
If they were to lose to either of those teams, it would not surprise me.
No, yeah.
Particularly that they're
They're
home,
both away.
both away for Anus U.
Well, and
And
we
you're
have
going your back-to-back travel weeks.
Well, and I was just gonna say we have such
desert
the
team.
advantage that we have our last 2 games at home. Oregon is at home in Rice-Eccles, and then Colorado. If it comes to that, we have the home advantage.
Who is
It's
not good.
Huge.
Let's not
No,
be-
they're not good.
They're not good, but I know what you're saying.
They just beat Oregon
Dude.
State.
They just beat Oregon State.
See, that's what
in
I'm
overtime.
saying.
And I'm going to say this.
I know.
I
Weird stuff happens.
love and I tweeted this and I misspelled parody and Jesse called me out and I understand, but I tweeted this at 2:30 in the morning or something like
You
that.
can't
Eating
tweet
chips.
at 2:30 in the morning.
I was eating garbage. Anyway, I can do whatever I want. I love the parody of the Pac-12. I love that literally
Jesse,
from
you don't like it?
No.
I
He
misspelled
he
parody.
misspelled it, so he was correcting.
Oh,
it.
okay.
I mean, Jesse's an English major. What
Yeah,
can
of
you
course
do?
that's going to
You
drive him
can't-
crazy. How
Anyway.
did you spell it? Parity?
Parrot, like a parrot?
No,
Parity?
I spell it with a D instead of a T.
No, it's
No, it
spelled
is with a D.
No,
Yes, it is.
'Cause I had it backwards.
Parody.
You spelled it
Anyway,
with a
I
T.
spelled it the wrong way.
Parity.
We're moving on. My point is, I love that week to week I can turn on a game and it can be Oregon State and whoever, and you have no idea who's going to win.
It's true.
Versus I turn on a SEC game and I go, I know who's winning this game. It's the first quarter, and I know who's going to win this game. Same with the Big 12 or whatever. It's boring. To start the season off, you sit down and you go, all right, Alabama's winning this. Ohio State's winning this. You know, this year's different in the ACC, but usually it's Clemson's winning this. The Pac-12, you have no clue. And I love it.
It is interesting. I've seen people talking about this, and actually, Jesse and I were talking about this, I think yesterday, is in all other sports leagues and things like that, March Madness, all of, oh my gosh.
I don't do it
so
that loud.
Yes, you do. Anyways, like in March Madness, the reason it's so exciting is because you don't know who's going to win. It's not always guaranteed.
Mm-hmm.
And then same with like NFL playoffs and hockey
Mm-hmm.
playoffs. Like you have an idea of who's going to win, but sometimes it comes down
A
to
lot of times.
it surprises you. And so
That's
that's
why
what it is in the
I love
Pac-12.
it. I honestly love it.
And that's what is frustrating to me about how the college football playoff is set up, because it's based on people going, oh, well, of course Alabama's going to beat them, instead of letting people actually lay it out on the field. Because as we saw, we beat Alabama when everybody said it's a guarantee that Alabama's going to win. I don't like how college football, it's based on people's opinion
Well, I can
versus based on schedule and merit and beating each other like every other sport is laid out to be.
I can look at it. I did it earlier this year, and when Oregon played Ohio State, and I even said
Yeah, they're going to lose.
Ohio State's going to kill them because you do the paperwork, and this, and Ohio State's going to beat them, and Oregon goes out and beats them.
Yeah. Let them
Right?
play it
Let
on the
them
field.
play it out on the field. I love it. But then
points.
it also
Good
beat.
points.
It also we
I
also
like
beat
that.
each other up, and then we don't get that to the playoff thing. We don't have that one marquee
But
team.
that's what's bullcrap, is it should be based on people actually beating each other, and that way, instead of based on people's opinions about
Which
who
is-
should be in the playoffs.
The good thing, though, is Oregon moves up now because Michigan State.
Michigan
I would
State lost.
I would suppose they do.
You'd
I
think
would
so.
suppose
They have to.
They'll move in, and Ohio State will move into the 4th spot. Or I can see Ohio State jumping them.
Even though they beat them.
Yeah,
That'd be it.
Again, see, that's
can't agree
that's
with
such
that.
bullcrap.
it is bullcrap,
And
but I
it's-
can see it.
And it
Because
is.
they do
I
the,
bet they go 3.
They always do Ohio State is playing really well right now. They always do that. Well, like Oregon's not.
They've lost one game.
Yeah, to the team that would be in front of them.
But see, that is what's bullcrap, is you've got teams who've lost games who are
I know.
ahead
I
of
know.
people
Yeah, I
who
know.
haven't.
Okay.
That's just my point. I think it's strange that college football is the only sport that lays it out based on opinion and not on actual merit and
Simple.
schedule.
18 playoff. That's all you do.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, we're moving on. Moving
Problem
on.
solved.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna throw some.
Oh, rapid fire.
No, this is
He didn't like when we did.
I love
fire
rapid
on
fire.
not
Friday.
rapid fire. You're gonna have to think on these.
Nope, Brent's rapid fire.
So is this statement or this view or this position an overreaction to where we are right now?
okay, go.
So I'm gonna lay out a statement,
But you have to answer
and
it.
you have to say, and do one at a time. Don't talk over each other.
Okay,
Okay?
teacher.
Is it? Where's my ruler?
teacher.
Can't do that anymore. I go to prison. When I went to freaking junior high school,
Did you get the ruler?
Bell?
I had Mr. Bell.
Freaking Bell? He hit my hands a
Slap
couple
you.
times in science.
Clayton Junior High.
That
He
dude
he'd
was
always-
scary,
he would
man.
point like this, and it's data, not data.
And I'm sitting there
And he would
talking
do
or
this.
doing something, and he always come up from behind and that guy would be in
Well, you
prison.
were screwing off.
You probably deserved it.
Probably, but I got hit with a ruler. You can't do that anymore.
I had a teacher-
Unfortunately, I think you should be able to.
I had a teacher
I'm sorry.
in second grade. Me and a kid were
Bell.
goofing off, and I can't remember her name. He grabbed, his name was Luke Shaw. She grabbed him by the ear
my
and
gosh.
ripped him out of class. And I remember sitting there being like, oh, because I deserved it too.
Oh, he of course deserved
Oh
it.
no, he deserved it. Shout out Luke Shaw.
Shout out
There's
to
a-
the teachers out there who have to deal with these little shits all the time. Sorry.
Little ers.
Your beat missed it.
All right. Is this an overreaction? Considering
Yes.
where we are right now, okay? Mm-hmm. How we've played, we just took out Stanford and how we sit. Okay, so if we had a running game, if our offensive line and our running game was rolling like it is right now, I mean, just look at the last two games. From the start of the season, because you remember we stunk it up and Thomas wasn't there. If right from the start our team was our offensive line and the running game and Thomas hadn't all the fumble problems and it was just rolling like it is right now, would Brewer still be our quarterback?
Yes. Yeah, he would be.
So that's not an overreaction
No.
to think that.
No, because I think that everything changed when Rising came in for whatever reason, whether it's the leadership, I don't know what it was, but yeah, Brewer would still be our quarterback.
Interesting.
If we had been successful in running the ball.
Yeah, I mean, because what we're doing now, we weren't doing then. So what I'm
Yeah.
saying is if what we're doing now, we did early on when Brewer, those first few games, would he still be the guy?
Yes.
He probably would be, because then we would have been progressing and doing things successfully. We were not doing those things when he was here for whatever reason. So if we had been, then yeah, I think he probably would still be the guy.
I don't think so. I have a little difference on that because, I mean, who's to say? I think it would have been a factor, but
I think behind the scenes stuff there was leadership
I
issues.
just feel like,
and-
and that's what you just said, James. But it Rising, Brewer wasn't throwing the ball very well. I mean, it's impossible to know,
yeah.
but there's just something about Rising as a leader and his game that seems to me would have risen to the top and got out there. But you think back, and I don't think it's a weird or an odd position to take, is if we were running the ball, because we would have won games.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Is it an overreaction after watching these last games to say that Thomas is as good as Moss and Booker?
No, that's not an overreaction. I think he absolutely can be and probably will be.
I don't know.
That's not my... Okay, go, James.
I think it's a overreaction. Thomas is an incredibly talented running back, and I think that if he finishes this year and then goes into next year, it could be, obviously, we'll see. Moss and Booker are NFL running backs. I mean, I just watched Booker run all over the Raiders yesterday. Well
done, Raiders.
I had such mixed emotions about that. That was painful.
I don't care if he gets his yards. How about Carr just throwing some touchdowns?
Okay, we're going off on the wrong stuff now. But
No, that's never wrong.
I do see
Never wrong.
if Thomas keeps doing what he's doing and keeps on this trend, he'll be in the NFL. But right now, no.
That's what I'm just saying. I just said he
That's not...
can be
Is he?
and probably
No.
will be.
That's not what that was not my question. It was the point was, after these games and where we stand right now, is it an overreaction to say that Thomas is as good as Booker and Moss?
Yes, it's an overreaction.
I think it's an overreaction because those guys played. How long did Booker play? A couple of years.
Yeah, he was a JUCO transfer.
Yeah.
Moss was here for 4 years.
Okay, That's longevity and a lot of yards and some records, and they're both in NFL. So, yes, do I see potential? But I think it's an overreaction to say, after just these last several games, to say he's as good as Booker.
To be fair, he did score 8 touchdowns
I understand,
in 2
but
games. That's insane.
We'll see.
And he'll probably have 2 or 3 this weekend, too.
We'll revisit it, but I don't say he's Booker or Moss.
Booker.
Myself.
I loved Booker on the Utes.
Okay. So as we sit now, is it an overreaction to say this team is as good as 2019?
Oh, yeah. Overreaction. 2019 was a potential playoff team. I mean, they were going to the playoff if we didn't lose to Oregon in the championship game. I think that team would beat this team by 2 touchdowns.
I think that's an overreaction. I mean, in 2019, we had, 11 dudes go to the NFL from just that team, right?
Well, I think it was a crazy number. And it was the defense. The defense
right,
was so much
but
better.
That's the point. I mean,
Offense was good. That was the Huntley year,
right.
man.
Huntley.
Right.
Our team is good this year, but that year was we have so
Ridiculous.
many freshmen and whatnot this year. That year was, I mean, those are all our NFL dudes.
I'm with you. I think it's an overreaction with this side note.
In 2 years from now?
If the stars all aligned, and Utah beat Oregon twice and got to the Rose Bowl, then you'd have to revisit this.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that there's potential for this young team, but right now they're not 2019.
No, that team was special. That team, regular season, went 11-1. It gets overlooked because we finished the year crappy.
Yeah.
But it was 11-1. It was unbelievable. It was one of the funnest years I've ever had as a fan. So
It just kind of ended bad.
it
But
just ended
was
poorly, and the
unbelievable.
talent freaking everywhere was amazing. So yeah, for me, overreaction. Give it a couple years and we'll see. And one of the stars that needs to align is USC needs to hire another crap coach. So pray
Might
for
not
that.
happen.
Okay, another one. Is it an overreaction to say that our receiving core, our receivers, and that includes tight ends, so all of our the receiving core, is the best we've had in the recent past?
Whew.
And I don't know how many years to go back, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think that's an overreaction to say because of the number of guys that we have to throw to this year versus, I think in past years we've had guys that are really good, but it's maybe only 1 or 2 on the team. This year we've got a lot more options who are very talented.
I would say that's not an overreaction. When you take the 3 tight ends who are receiving threats, and then you have a guy like Vele who's a freshman and making some of the catches he's making.
Jeez.
You know, Enos has been hurt, but he made some plays this last game. Yeah, I think this is probably the best receiving core top to bottom we've had in, years. Maybe going back to the Sugar Bowl year, really, because we had some dudes on that team.
Yeah, I don't think it's an overreaction, and it's not just. And the main reason is it is what you said, is there's a lot of them, but they're all catching the ball.
Mm-hmm. When it hits them.
I mean, you have to admit, in years past, we had guys dropping the ball a lot. Mm-hmm. That was part of the frustration. This year, when the ball gets there, they're catching it.
Yeah.
So no, I think honestly, right now this core of receivers is the best we've had in a long time because they were catching the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I think that's a good question. I like that.
Okay. Okay, this is interesting. Is it an overreaction to say? I'm curious to see what you're going to say on this one.
Don't get it wrong.
Yell that.
Is the University of Utah football team the best football team in the state of Utah right now?
Of course. That is not an overreaction to say that.
I'm not talking about the start of the season. I'm talking about where the teams are right now.
Yeah, look.
Is Utah the best freaking team?
Look, I'm just gonna look.
Controversial,
Listen to what
Gary.
listen to what I'm gonna say. Listen.
Is that an overreaction to say they are?
I think no.
Don't.
Just let me say my piece.
I'm going to.
So let me say it. Okay? Yes, Utah's the best team in the state. And the reason I will say that is because the O-line and the running game is a world different than what it was to begin the year. Okay? This team now, and then obviously Rising brings a whole nother dimension. This team is the best team in the state. Now, I think BYU is pretty dang good, honestly. I've watched a lot of their games. I think this is the best team BYU's had in a long time. It showed, I mean, they beat us.
Okay, we don't need this.
But what I'm saying is I'm not discrediting BYU. That's not what I'm saying. They're pretty decent. But I think that if we played today, it'd be a very close game, but I think that we'd beat them with how we are trending. Okay? So, yeah. Not by a wide margin, but yes. Plus, Utah State. Whoo!
What about Weber State? We know.
Is it an overreaction?
No, it's not an overreaction. I think the overall depth of the talent that we have on Utah outweighs what BYU has. And I get it. We lost to them. We all know they played way better than us in that game. We talked about it. We get it. But the way things are going now, the way our team is looking now, we're better. Sorry, Cougar Board.
Oh, my gosh.
But I'm also not going to be that fan that says, if we played right now, we
Okay.
I'm not doing that.
I agree with you that I do think they're having their best year they've had in a really long time.
This team is better than the team that they put on the field last year.
Yeah.
What is happening? What am I hearing ringing?
Oh my gosh,
over
it's
here,
Gary's
dude.
phone.
How you mute? You turn it off. He gets mad at us.
Can I? Okay, I'm
going
to give my opinion now.
Go right ahead.
I'm not going to say anything about the Zoobs. I could care less about what they're doing. All I'm going to say is this: that it's not an overreaction to say that Utah is the best team in the state of Utah right now, because of the way we're playing. Because we just are. It's just the way it is. It's what you said, James. You compare this team with the first three games.
This team
We don't even have the same. The offensive line is different. Mm-hmm. The quarterback is different, and Rising has made a huge difference. And our running backs, including Thomas, who didn't even hardly play in that game, things just weren't working.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have lost to San Diego State, and we would not have lost to the Zoobs because if this team came out of the gate. Now, we didn't. Reality is what it is. I get it. But I'm looking at the team right now, and it's night and day.
It's night and day, and I love where we're trending.
And
And week to week, we're getting better. That's the other thing that's beautiful.
we're not peaked yet.
No, we have not peaked yet. That's something that's not being talked about. There is still growth, and I think we can get better.
There you have it.
Okay, here it is. So this is interesting. I'm going to ask you right out. Is it an overreaction? Because with all our excitement, Ute fans, is it an overreaction to say that Utah is the best team in the Pac-12 right now?
Brant, I've been going first every time. You go first. Because I have an answer and I'm right. So let's hear if you agree.
It's not right. It's just whether you think it's because people are saying it. I've thought it. And is it, everyone gets caught up in the emotion of what's going on. In the Pac-12 of the league is Utah, the best team right now. Not the effects of early games and all that, but right now.
No, I don't know if I can say. I don't think it's an overreaction. I don't think it's crazy to say that, but I also don't know if I can legitimately say that we're the best. Based on that, we're just very young. That would be my only thing.
So is it an overreaction or not an overreaction?
No, I don't think it's an overreaction. No.
Utah's the best team. Utah's the best team in the Pac-12 right now. Oregon is very good, but they're very susceptible.
He said it.
I'll say it. And I don't even have to think twice about it. Now, is that saying that we're going to beat Oregon on the 20th? No, not necessarily. They're very talented. And when they put it all together, they're very scary. But I think that right now, out of the gate, Utah is the best team in the Pac-12. And obviously, the beauty of it is we're going to find out. I could be dead wrong. But I think I've watched Oregon. They're good. They have a lot of talent when they put it all together, but they don't always put it together. And so I'm really looking forward to 2 weeks from now. I'll tell you that much.
So, no, I don't think it's an overreaction to say that Utah is the best team in the Pac-12 right now, just because of the trend and the way they've played the last number of games and the dominant way they took out Stanford. And we just went through the numbers. We get the most points in the...
I did see that.
The matchup projector right now, by the way.
I saw that.
Which is just insane.
I don't know, man.
Just to throw it out there, this is the matchup projector that ESPN does, and they're pretty freaking accurate. Has Utah at a 62% W in a week and a half from now.
Hope they're right.
Whatever that means.
But, no, I don't think it's an overreaction, and we're going to find out soon enough. But I totally agree. I've watched a number of Oregon games, and the interesting thing about Oregon, I mean, their quarterback, he can play some fantastic ball, and then he can be really vulnerable at times and bad at times. The thing about Oregon, they're so talented, is they're always hanging around in the games, even when they're not playing well. And then they end up winning or blowing somebody out. That's the tough part, is that they just they don't go in and blow everybody out 40-0. Some of the games are close, and they're there, and they're just kind of struggling. But I got to admit, when I watch Cristobal and the team, they never panic. Even when they're down, they're pretty calm, and because they're confident in what they can do. So if Utah's going to do it, it's whether we're just going to be more physical. That's what it's come down to Oregon.
Which is our bread
That's
and butter.
what it's been, but we've been that way before, and like in 2019.
But the difference is this. Oregon has 2 or 3 guys that can change the game immediately. They've got a couple guys on D. I can't remember the dude's name. It's escaping me. The D lineman, he's like the number 1 pick in the draft. It's killing me. I can't remember his name.
Number 5.
Unbelievable guy. Their quarterback.
It's not Sewell, is it?
No, not Sewell. Gosh, I'm mad I can't think of it. Their quarterback, streaky, but when he's hot, he's hot. And then they got this running back, Die.
Well, we're going to talk about it next week.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
just
not
gonna
going to talk about Oregon.
We're not even playing Oregon
I
this
know,
week.
but
We're
My
like,
question was, is it an overreaction for Utah?
No, it's not. But I'm excited to find out.
Yeah.
well, we do have to play Arizona.
Yeah, we're gonna win 55-12.
Oh, is that
That's my prediction.
Final one, is it an overreaction to say we're going to the Rose Bowl?
No,
I've already bought my tickets.
you have not. Hell no. We're going.
We're going.
I'm
Go, Bryn tonight.
I hope my daughter doesn't listen.
It's not an overreaction. What about you?
No, we're going.
It's an overreaction, people.
I'm manifesting it. Gary, I am manifesting it into the universe. It has to
that's
happen
stupid.
sometime. No. That works. You got to put it out there.
I bought a bunch of
Now
crystals.
you've lost. Now you're not being rational at all.
That's fine.
Oh, okay, real quick. I'm just gonna say this. I know we're done. These fans and these doofuses that are saying that Utah should intentionally lose to Oregon next week so that Oregon's then ranked 4th when we play them. Blah, blah, blah. No, shut up. You win every single game you can. Okay? End of statement. That's a loser mentality. There's no place for that.
Okay.
Okay?
Let's just win every game.
Yeah.
Score
Who's
prediction.
ever before. All right, my score prediction is it's going to be 41-17 Utah.
45-10.
55-12. Why not?
12.
Yeah. I don't know.
How do you get 12?
Some
Don't worry about
goals.
it.
4
Field goals.
Field goals. Okay.
Some field goals.
Field goals.
I don't remember what I just said, but
You
it's
said
not,
45-something. You said 40-something.
I said 41-17.
Okay.
All right, Ute fans, there you have it. Subscribe, please subscribe and pass it on and leave your comments.
if you're going to be at the game,
Come find us.
Yeah,
Say
gonna
hi.
We're
gonna
doing
go
a
to this
Utah
game.
football
Catch
fans
some rays,
tailgate.
get sunburned.
no, we're not.
The podcast will be there, so it's going to be a good time.
All right, go Utes.
No Utes.
Yeah. Ready?
Always.
Let's get it.
Born.
I'm telling you why. You can see in their eyes, them boys ain't playing, they ready to ride. Shaking the tunnel, just screaming and yell. If you ain't ready, you get eaten alive. Taking the field with loads of passion. Swagging out with the flyest fashions. Cameras out and they stay
Zuby
flashing.
board.
Captain Sally about to get it cracking. Full of crashing in between those lines.
You love it,
boys, we
don't you?
about to ride. We're a band of brothers and we stick together like
Just
an army
live
mission
for
when
it.
it's wartime. We stacking them W's, pay attention. Opponents coming with apprehension. We stay on top of our division. Went from BCS buses to playoff contenders. We on the rise up. Now the boys mad. We have to tighten them boys up. We here for the crown. Utes. We on the rise up. Now the boys mad. We have to tighten them boys up. We here for the crown. Utes.